And we are live. Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Fearless Fridays with Lisa. I have a phenomenal guest you guys are going to get so much value from, Todd Falcone. Todd, welcome.
What's up, Lisa? How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm thrilled to have you on. First, I got to say I have been Facebook, YouTube stalking you. It's just incredible, your content. And, you know, you and I have been platform friends, let's call it. I think maybe we've shared the platform 2 or 3 times, but wow, I really think, especially this last speech that I just heard from you at the ANMP Association, that, wow, Todd, I think you're one of the best platform speakers on the planet.
That is a huge compliment, and I accept it graciously. Thank you. That's something I've worked on for a long time.
Well, I want to talk about that because you and I both know, and all of our listeners know, that public speaking is the biggest fear that any human being can have, even over death. So let's talk about your process because, man, dude, you are good. Your content is rich, and you know your content. Your stories are inspiring and intriguing. Your humor and your timing is right on. But I know you weren't always that good, right? Everybody had to start somewhere. So could you share your fear of public speaking way back when, Todd? And what was your formula? What was your process for overcoming that fear of the platform and speaking?
All right, so I'm going to answer that question fairly lengthily so that people really get it. So first of all, years ago, I mean, I never thought I would be on stage. I mean, I think most people are afraid to get in front of a group of people and talk, and, you know, they're afraid of a lot of things. They're afraid of, you know, who knows what, probably messing up, being made fun of, embarrassment. It could be a lot of things, but I get it. And I've experienced fear related to speaking. And I remember the first time I was asked to speak was almost 30 years ago. And I had never spoken, and a guy he said, "Hey, Todd, catch," and he throws something at me, and I caught it, and it was the keys to the network marketing office I was working in. He said, "The office is yours. You're going to do the 4 steps training." And I was like, and there were 75 people in the room waiting we were like doing a little break after the biz op, and then we're going to do this little 4-step deal to teach them how to get started. And I was like literally thrown into the fire. But here's the thing about that. We were trained on that 4 steps training over and over and over and over and over again at our events and our seminars. And I'd seen it many, many times. So yeah, I was scared to death. I got up on that stage. I had no choice. And I was sweating. I was 22 when this first happened, and I was profusely sweating and super nervous. I know the people in the audience could go, "Man, this poor kid," you know, but they're all rooting for you. That's the other thing is, like, people in the audience are rooting for you to do better. They're not rooting for you to like blow up, right? So that was really early on, and I actually didn't do a lot of, I did some speaking, but I wasn't regularly on a stage or on a platform. And then I spent many years like running my own network marketing teams, and one of the things that we did quite a bit of was doing conference calls. And even doing conference calls, even though it's a, you know, virtual stage or virtual platform, is still where you've got people. They may not be able, you know, there's no eyeball to eyeball there, but there's still the intimidation factor of having 100 or 1,000 or whatever the number of people is on the team. And the way I started to get through my fears was really by, you know, first of all, knowing what I'm talking about. I think I would, like, if somebody said, "Hey, Todd, you need to get up on stage and talk about how to play really good chess." Like, I don't even know how to play chess. So I would be stuck not even knowing what to say. I can't even know if I remember all the players on the chessboard, right? So one thing for sure is don't go speak on something that you're not comfortable speaking on. So me, like, teaching about prospecting or recruiting or team building or how to build a network marketing organization, those are all comfort points for me. But even when I became a speaker, so check this out. So 14 years ago, I'd spent 11 years with a network marketing business that went out of business. And a guy had called me up after that company went out, and he said, "Hey, Todd, will you come and speak at one of my events?" And I was like, yeah, I guess. What do you want me to talk about? Like, I never thought I would be a network marketing speaker. Like, what I do today was not part of the plan. Some people go, "I want to be a speaker. That's what I want to do. I have aspirations to be a speaker." I never had any aspirations of being a speaker. I was essentially just kind of invited into that room. Some guy goes, "Hey, come on over here, speak to my group." And then, you know, and then I got invited back. But I remember that was funny. The first time I got invited to do like this independent training event, and you know, I'd never used a PowerPoint before. So I thought, if I'm going to be official, I got to do a PowerPoint. So I go, how much time do I have? And he says, you got 45 minutes. And I put this presentation together, and I had 62 slides for 45 minutes.
Oh no. Right. The kiss of death.
Yeah, right. So I called him up. I said, I figured I better do a slide thing. And I'd never used PowerPoint before. So I put this thing together. I said, he goes, how many slides you got? I said, I have 62. He said, because that's about 60 too many. I'm like, oh, okay. So I think I got it down to maybe 30 slides. But I think as far as getting over your fear is knowing what you're talking about. Like, I would never go speak on something that I wasn't, that the subject matter wasn't something that I was comfortable or knowledgeable on. Number two, I think it's important to give yourself some direction. Like, I don't mind. It's okay to go up on stage with some notes. Like, even if you don't use a PowerPoint, like, I'll go up on my journals and packed in my bag right now because I'm getting ready to leave. But I will go up with, if I'm speaking up on the platform and I've got like a table, I have no problem having my journal open and referring to the notes in a journal. I won't read from them, but what they do is it might be a sentence or it might be a word, and then I can talk about that word for X amount of time. Mm-hmm. John Childers, who actually has done a pretty extensive amount of speaker training. I got this through an event that I attended. He does something called chunking. And chunking is, and this is great for you guys that are new to speaking, is, let's say you've been invited to give a 20-minute presentation, which really is not that much time at all. You know, and I've seen people go into total overwhelm and panic, like, about a 20-minute deal, right? And sometimes actually 20 minutes is harder because it's such a short period of time.
It is harder.
But if you chunk it, and the chunking is breaking it up into, like, 20 minutes might be 4 or 5 minute segments. You know, I've got the introduction and the close. And then I've got these 3 points, 1.1, point 2, and point 3 that I have in the middle. Well, now you've turned it into bite-sized chunks rather than this one big speech that you've got to give. Hi, my name is Todd Falcone. Thanks for being here, whatever. And then you go and you tell them what you're going to tell them. You tell them, and then you tell them what you told them is a pretty standard thing I think a lot of people do when they're on the platform. But I think preparation, like even now, like I did an event night before last year in Salem, Oregon for a group of people. And this is my material, right? I wrote it. I put it together. It's my presentation. And even then, I was going through the slide presentation before I actually gave the presentation. Like when you saw that speech I did at the ANMP. In fact, this is actually interesting. So here I am, the 81st speaker, the last speaker of 4 days. Like, these people have been fire hosed to death for like three days. And not only am I the last speaker, but I have to put a bow on the entire event, right? Yeah. And then I've got like more influencers in one room, like more $1 million earners in one room than probably any place you're ever going to see. Yeah. In fact, I got it in my journal. I actually sat the night before. I'm thinking, what am I going to do? I started to formulate what my presentation was. And I was literally rehearsing what I was going to say and how I didn't have note. I had my journal up there. I think I referred to my journal on stage a couple times, would take a peek, but I had it rehearsed pretty good before, like what the direction I was going to head for the little 18-minute segment I did at the ANP for probably a couple hours before I actually gave the presentation. So don't go up on stages unprepared. If you want to really let your fear sink in, then hop on a stage having no preparation whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And that ANMP speech, you nailed it, my friend. Like, that was so powerful. The content was so rich. Your humor was hilarious. Tantalizing. I like that word. Am I getting hot up here? And you're like using the napkin. Listen, you guys, our listeners and viewers, you got to go watch Todd Falcone's speech. You can go to his Facebook page. Somebody posted it right there, and the entire speech is there. ANMP. What you said in that speech, Todd, besides your delivery, which your delivery is flawless. You're so funny. You're so in the moment humor. And then your content is so rich. But the content that I love the most from that speech is you said, what we want to do here, guys, is we want our best game. And what do professionals do to create their best game? They practice. They practice, they practice, they practice. They practice getting rejected. They practice getting good. They practice their craft every week. And you even ask the audience, like, let's just talk about that. How many times have you practiced your story, your presentation, your invite, your close, even just this week? So could you go into, I think part of your power, Todd, is you are a relentless studier and practicer. Is that the right language? You friggin' practice. So talk a little bit about what you shared on ANMP about how powerful and important it is to say, you know what, I'm going to play my best game here. And my best game means I got to practice. Then I want you to add the piece, like we can't be over perfectionists. We got to get out there, yes, practice, but then get out there and we got to just do it. We got to begin. We got to go share our story. We got to get up and take a free speaking engagement. I mean, my first speaking engagement was 21 years ago because I started in the professional speaking business before I started in network marketing. And I mean, that speech, like I wouldn't even want my mom to watch that speech, but I did it, right? So share a little bit about that element of practice and giving people permission to, they got to put the work in. And then also like at one point, you got to just get up there and do it.
Yeah, I think whether it's practicing and getting good at speaking, for example, or practicing, let's say, and because I mean, my specialty is network marketing. People say that they want to be good all the time, but they really don't spend any time practicing. They sign up in a network marketing business, they attend to seminars and go to events and take notes, and that's part of the learning process of getting better is the acquisition of knowledge and then the application of it. But it's you got to practice the thing that we do. So if I'm a professional speaker, I think I should practice my presentation. If I'm a network marketer, I should practice my presentation, practice my approach, etc. And it's like just with any professional athlete, they practice more than anybody else, which is what makes them and defines them as professionals. And what's fascinating, in network marketing, for example, I know people don't practice nearly enough. They don't really invest that much time in practice. I've spoken on enough platforms and asked the question to know that probably realistically like 95 to 97 or 98% of the people practice none, but they keep saying, I want to be good. I think it's probably a little bit different or a lot different in the professional speaking world because you got a lot more pressure to perform when you're on a platform. But even so, I mean, at every event even if I've given that same slide presentation or used that same, tool before, I will still practice it a few times in the morning and the night before I actually deliver it because I want to put my best foot forward and play my A game every single time I play it. Now you said something to me I'm like the natural goofball as it is. Like I've always been the joke cracker. I don't know if I was like the class clown or anything, but I definitely am always pushing buttons and, just goofy. So what's interesting is when I first started speaking, I wasn't very funny. I was very focused on being serious. Yeah. And while I'm really serious about the way I train, and one of the things I'm known for is blunt, direct, to the point, tell it like it is, real, authentic. That's just like, I don't know if you're coming here to learn, like you don't want somebody beating around the bush. Do you want somebody to tell you the truth? Tell me the freaking truth about what it takes to be successful. Don't lie to me and don't like fluff it up. Just be honest with me. And I think people really appreciate that. And then over time, I just got, I got the more speeches, the more presentations, I got more and more comfortable, which enabled me to share funny stories, and here's the other thing I do. And one of the things I talk about on stages all the time is success is this. It's repeating the things that work and deleting the things that don't work. Repeat what works, delete what doesn't. So if we look at speaking, for example, or network marketing, speaking first, if I say something on stage and I tell a story and the story is really well received, I'm like, oh, I better remember that and do it again. Or if I tell a story and then it's, that one didn't work out so well, I may not say it. So quick example, I tell the story about this guy, Fernando, I met in college. My dog's named Fernando. I met him in history class. He taught me how to sell cable television in Spanish. It was the first time I ever used a script. And the Fernando story is designed to teach a lesson on following somebody who's already been successful and not reinventing the wheel. So I have this 5-minute encapsulated story that's very, very funny when I tell it on stage. And then I got my college roommate story, which is this little 5-minute bit on, removing yourself from negativity. So I've got these bits that are like 3 to 5 minutes or 10 minutes where I can give a lesson in the story. And I've just, I've also, because I'm so intimately familiar with network marketing, it's easy for me to make fun of all the goofy, crazy, weird things that we experience and that people do in network marketing. And I have people have literally come off this. When I spoke the night before last, a friend of mine I've known for over 20 years, he had never seen me speak before. And he's in the audience. He's like, oh my God, I didn't know you were this funny. Like, Falcone, dude, I had no idea. You are literally like a comedian. I was like, well, in fact, he even said, he goes, you should do stand-up comedy. I'm like, I just did. But here's the thing.
Right.
My stand-up comedy is not, see, you don't come to one of my events because you're trying to go to a stand-up comedian. You're coming to learn. You just get the benefits of having a funny speaker.
Yeah.
And I get asked all the time, dude, you should do stand-up. Well, if I did stand-up, I'm sure I could probably do it. But, you know, then it would require me having to, like, actually get real jokes that the mainstream audience could actually adapt to, not a bunch of network marketing jokes.
Yeah, totally cool. Yeah. I get it. One of the things, okay, did you guys hear that? What he said is get a journal and start writing your stories down. And then, Todd, what you said was so powerful. You guys, you got to get out there and start sharing your story and noticing what worked, noticing what didn't work, whether you're a speaker or sharing your story in network marketing. The main thing is getting up on that stage. The main thing is getting in that living room or getting at that coffee shop in front of that prospect, and then start sharing your stories and your invite, but notice. And what do you guys call that? Like, that's just like kind of evaluating what worked, what didn't work. Gosh, it's all a process, you guys. Todd, what can you share with our viewers and listeners to give them permission to not give up yet? Like, the process of getting good, the process of success is not being good at the beginning, right? Sucking at it at first and being okay with the sucking stage and then evaluating, getting back out there, sharing the story again, getting up on stage again. What's your process for helping even your team, other professional speakers, with hanging in there and being willing to see it through the process?
Yeah, I think, I mean, and I hate to sound so fundamental, but, you know, success for the most part is pretty fundamental. You have to have a burning desire for that, whatever that thing is. Like I had a burning desire to be successful in network marketing, which caused me to work really hard at it and to work at getting good at it, good enough where I could ultimately be a speaker in it. And now I'm one of the top few speakers that, you know, speaks professionally as, you know, and trains network marketing. There's a lot of great speakers out there, but as far as like network marketing trainers, there's really not that many, you know, that teach network marketing. There might be a handful or handful and a half. But I think that you can't get good at the thing that you never do. You can certainly not get good at the thing that you never work on. And you'll never get good at that thing that you quit. So, you know, again, it's so like fundamental, like don't quit, stay consistent, you know, work hard, all these things. But these are like people make success to be more technically challenging and complicated than they have to. I'm not saying it's not hard work. I have worked my ass off as an entrepreneur for many, many years. I still do. But you know, look, if you're watching this, you probably work hard at whatever you do. You know, I mean, if you maybe you have a part-time entrepreneur deal and you got your full-time job, you work hard at your full-time job. The difference is if it's in network marketing or, you know, speaking's a pretty highly paid career. I wouldn't necessarily wish it upon anybody. I think a lot of times people say that they want to be speakers. I'm like, dude, you have no idea what you're even getting yourself into. And you know this because you're a speaker. The amount of content that you have to produce. It's like what I do on the platform for the 18 minutes, the A&P, or the 3 hours I did in Salem last night or next Wednesday in New Jersey that I'm speaking. That's like a small, tiny percentage of all of the other work that I do. I mean, I spend a lot more time off stage in preparation and doing other things that get me speaking gigs than I do actually on the platform. So I think, look, you see me now. It's kind of like the fat person, right? The fat person that, you know, you look at them and they're like ripped. They got 6-pack abs and they're like fitter than fit, all this great vascularity. They look fantastic. And they go, man, I used to be 400 pounds. And they're like, let me see the picture. And you're like, I don't have the picture. Well, if you don't have the before picture, they're certainly not going to believe it. And so you don't see me today as the guy I was 29 years ago when I started in network marketing, stuttering, sweaty, nervous wreck. You see me as what's Natalie Cole, what's her quote? Everybody sees the glory. They just don't know the story. And you see people for where they are, but you don't really see for what they went through to get there. So you have to be willing to endure the process to get to the other side. And it is a process, and it's sometimes uncomfortable, and it's hard. And you will. And here's the other thing I'll say, and I said this on stage at the A&P. People want success to be easier. And I wish it was, I wish I could just go, wow, just put my feet up on the desk, you know, hang out. But it would be awesome, but I wouldn't build any muscle doing that.
Yeah.
It's the challenges, the roadblocks, the frustrations that you push yourself through, and you get to the other side, and now you're stronger as a result of it. So actually, if success was easy, you'd be weak. If success is harder and it requires working through challenges and obstacles, whatever you have to get through to get to the other side, you become stronger as a result of it. And honestly, I think you're able to handle success a lot easier if you've gone through the ringer on the way up to the top.
100% true. I always share that the best people to be millionaires, multimillionaires, are network marketers, because they have developed the skill set to love on people, to hang in there with people. They have developed the skill set to run a successful company and hanging in there when it wasn't successful. Like, those are the people I want to see on this planet, wealthier than wealthy. So I got a question for you, Todd. So here you are. Well, one of your YouTube videos talked about harnessing the power of projection. And you talked about perception is projection. So share with our listeners how they can actually start seeing themselves in their mind. Now, this is the power of the brain, the power of the mind, because perception is projection. And let's say our listeners have a fear of sharing their story or the invite. They have a fear of speaking in front of 5 people in the living room. They have a fear of, God forbid, they have to get up on a stage and share their story or speak a message. How did you use the power of perception to help you overcome your fear of the stage?
Yeah, well, that's a very interesting question. That's, people have to understand what this means. Like, perception is projection means what you project upon somebody in terms of how you communicate, what you communicate, like your words and your, like people that are watching me right now for the first time are formulating an opinion based on the way I'm projecting myself here. And that becomes their reality of who I am. So if you're fearful and afraid, like I just learned a long time ago that if I was fearful and afraid and I was timid and I was showing that timidity and I was showing that desperation and fear and I was projecting that upon other people, they'd be looking at me like this desperate kid that needed to make some money and doesn't have it going on. And that just wasn't a recipe for success. Projecting desperation doesn't really attract goodness in your life. So I just thought one day, I said, well, what if I was making 20 grand a month? How would I act then? How would I act any different? I thought, yeah, well, I wouldn't be scared to talk to people. I wouldn't be chasing people. I would stand taller. I would just act in a different way. I wouldn't be like, hey, you need to talk to me because I make all this money, it's not like the old phrase, like when I heard the phrase a long time ago, fake it till you make it. And fake it till you make it, it was like, and it was used this way in like the 1980s and 1990s. Fake it till you make it was like, put a fake watch on, fake Rolex watch on, and like kind of, or nice clothes, and like fake that you're making money, which is really, it's projecting a false image. It's projecting a lie. In fact, I got caught. We had a guy that came into our office a long time ago with this jacket, like literally, I'm not even exaggerating, one of those coats that had watches on the inside. And I bought this fake Rolex watch in the first part of 1990, and I put it on, and I was like, and it had the sweeping hand. Right? I remember I'm talking to this prospect, and I'm probably like, so, and he like looked at me and he goes, I won't use the word that he used, but he definitely used the F word. He goes, take that effing fake watch off of your wrist. I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh. Dude, he said, I sell watches for a living. And he goes, Rolex doesn't even make a watch that looks like that. You're making yourself look stupid. I mean, talk about embarrassing, right? I took that thing off and threw it in the trash and never wore a fake watch again. But, so to me, perception is projection is.
Okay, wait, stop right there. So that happened to you. Todd, the truth is a lot of people would never continue in their business. Never. That would have been it for them. That would have been it. They're done. They're out. How did you radically transform your mindset, your thought, your willingness to give the next presentation after that, or have the next prospect after that?
I don't know. I guess I'm coachable. I wanted to learn. I mean, I was humble enough to realize, okay, I do look stupid. I'm putting on this fake watch that Rolex doesn't even make, acting like I'm cool or something. And I was just looking stupid, and I didn't want to look stupid. I wanted to be successful. So even though it hurt at the time, he taught me a very valuable lesson, and I never did it again. And I think, I mean, there's nothing like authenticity. Like you don't have to fake authenticity. Like even I had people on stage over the weekend. They're like, dude, you're exactly the same guy off stage as you are on stage. You're like exactly the same person. I'm like, yeah, it's because I am. You know, I might be putting on a show a little bit and like doing my, you know, you're throwing in a little entertainment value, but I'm the same dude I am on the platform as I am off the platform. And then you don't have to worry about, and I've met people that are totally different. Like, I mean, you're not even that guy. And you can feel the inauthenticity. So I think if you're just being yourself, I mean, everybody else is already taken anyhow, so you might as well just be yourself. And it's easier that way. You don't have to, it's a lot less work. But going back to the perception thing, and the difference between perception is projection and fake it till you make it is all you're doing is, it's like acting, like Robert De Niro in Cape Fear playing Max Cady, for example. I mean, he studied that guy and he became that guy, but that's not who he is. He's Robert De Niro. He's playing a part. So all you're doing is you're playing the part of the person, the speaker, the successful network marketer, the very successful, confident, well put together speaker, or the confident network marketer that's got a huge organization. Even maybe this is your first time on the platform, or maybe you don't even have an organization yet. So what would that look like if you were a high-level speaker, or if you're a high-level network marketer, and then you just kind of start to step into that role?
I love that. And we can actually tap into that perception in the mind, because guys, everyone listening to this, you have done something amazing in your life. There's been a time when you shared a story, maybe it was around the fire pit, right, with your family, but you shared a story that was so compelling. Your kids, your wife, your friends thought it was amazing. So that's what Todd's sharing here. You can take on that fake it till you make it by tapping into those times in your life where you just nailed it. You nailed that story. You nailed that aspect of your career, whatever your career was. We're encouraging you to tap into that person. Those segments of time when you just nailed that speech, nailed that story, nailed that presentation in whatever career. You can access that you, and even accessing the future you with your own, what you say between your two ears right now, your own perception of yourself now. Like totally, like I can nail this. I'm on track for becoming the most prolific public speaker on the planet. Like this is, and then you're remembering the times when you were, because there's always times in everybody's life that you just nailed something of that category or that subject. Do you agree with that, Todd? And can our viewers like tap into that areas of their life where they just nailed life?
Oh yeah, well you can take yourself to that place in time, like it's to elicit a state change, to go back to that final place in time where you were super confident, super excited, super energetic, super whatever, and you can, oh yeah, I remember that time, and you can bring that to your current state. And also the reality is, you know, every time I get up on the platform, I'm not, and this is when you're performing, every day is not going to be exactly the same. You're never going to always give your best, but sometimes I'm like, I could have been better. You know what I mean? So, but I don't kill myself or knock myself out of the picture of ever speaking again because I felt like I didn't have my best day on the platform. So you just get up, you do it again. And I'll just say this. I think this is important because, I mean, I'm a professional speaker. It's what I do for a living. I've been in a couple situations that are really uncomfortable where things didn't really work out as well. So like, for example, I got myself into a situation one time, and so I think you need to know what you're getting yourself into before you get yourself into it. So I was in Hawaii. I was doing 2 events in Hawaii, and both of them were kind of like speak to sell type of events. I'm speaking and with the intention of making resources available at the tail end of those presentations. And the one presentation was like a super Saturday for a network. All these people, fine. I crushed it at that. And then I did another event this was at somebody's house. Number one, it was really hot. And like, speaking in a hot environment, I'm already kind of hot-blooded as it is. So then getting myself, so I was like sweating, not because I was nervous, but I was sweating, which was uncomfortable. And I also at the very last minute found out that like 75% of the people in the room weren't even in a deal yet. And so I had this presentation planned for a bunch of network marketers that were already active network marketers. And then I got on stage. I'm like, this messaging to this audience that's 75% of people that are not even in a deal is not even going to make sense. So I adjusted or attempted to adjust last minute to, kind of change my presentation. And it sucked. I got done. I was like, that was the worst presentation I've ever given.
Yeah.
That was awful. But, I learned from that experience. It was a learning curve. And I, spoke next week at another event with like 500 people and killed it.
Yeah. See, that's the key. Did you hear that, you guys? So it's, and you get to tell that story. How cool, how funny that you get to tell that story. You guys, you got to just start shifting your perception about when it didn't work for you, or when you failed at a speech or an invite. You got to be willing to let that go. One of my worst speeches was about 18 years ago. I was asked to give the keynote address at a very large pharmaceutical company. And they had me come in because I'm a motivational speaker is how they labeled me. And they were actually letting everybody know, actually like 60% of the room know that they were being laid off.
Oh.
So they let them know they were being laid off. And then here's Lisa Jimenez, the motivational speaker. Let me tell you, 70% of that room was drunk.
Yeah.
It was the worst speech I ever gave. It was the worst environment. But I learned from that, but also I have that story to tell now. So I don't judge that. I don't make that mean anything. And that's our message for you guys, the listeners and viewers. Don't make your fear or your failure mean anything. The only thing it means is you're every day and every way you're getting better and better. And even when you're at the top of your game, you're still going to have situations or pharmaceutical companies that fire 3/4 of their people, and you're the speaker. So Todd, I love this. I want you to share a challenge for our listeners and viewers, and whoever completes this challenge, I'm going to gift them your book. Todd Falcone is TFN. You guys know that, right? It's the Fearless Networker. And the Fearless Networker is a book. So I'm going to gift you that book when you complete this challenge from Todd Falcone. So what's the challenge, Todd?
Okay, I'm going to give two challenges because I think we've kind of gone in two different directions tonight, speaker and network marketer. So here's my challenge. If you are either a speaker or you want to be a speaker or you'd like to improve your speaking and presentation skills, the challenge for you guys is find a place where you can volunteer somehow, somewhere to actually deliver something. It doesn't have to be on a platform. It could be on a conference call, on a webinar, on a Zoom, on something where you have to either speak from the platform or in this case, like the virtual platform, and that you commit to actually doing it to a group of people. That's the one challenge.
Okay.
The second challenge is for those of you that are involved in network marketing. And there's a term that we use in network marketing all the time, and I think it's unfortunate, but it's probably never going to go away, and it's the chicken list. Well, the chicken list is the people that you're afraid to talk to. Fear. You're afraid to talk to them because of what? It's not your broke friends and family that are on the chicken list. It's the most influential people that you know that you've avoided because you're so concerned of how they're going to respond to you if you were to bring them your product or your business. So my challenge to you is to find someone up the socioeconomic chain. That person, you know who it is. I mean, it's already on your mind. I can see it. I can see it. I can see your brain right now. You're going, oh, that guy, that girl. Yeah, no, I definitely know. I've seen or he scares me to death. This week, you pick up the phone and you engage them in conversation about your product or your opportunity. That's the challenge, to go up the socioeconomic chain and go talk to someone who in the past you've avoided because of how you think that they might respond to you. Here's the thing I already know. You're going to be pleasantly surprised at how they do respond to you when you actually do that by going up the socioeconomic chain and stop avoiding talking to the very best people that are on your prospect list.
Beautiful. I love it. All right, guys, there you go. There's the challenge for the week. You complete that in the next 6 days, and you actually post below this interview that you completed it. And the first 10 people that complete that challenge from Todd Falcone gets a free copy of the Fearless Networker. So Todd, I want you to take us out with a story of how it's worth it. When you get up on that stage, Todd, and you know you nailed it. You know you impacted that audience. You know that after whatever it was, 68 81 speakers, and you closed out the ANMP and you tied that beautiful bow on it. It just feels so good. Could you share with us what that feels like and help us to feel that energy, that it's worth it? All this hard work, writing down your stories, editing your stories, getting out there and sharing your stories, or getting up on that platform, failing at it, but then learning from it, noticing what works, the process of getting good, the process of getting great, the willingness to practice. It's worth it. Share a little bit about Todd Falcone's life right now and what that feels like.
There's different levels of worth it. I mean, the money's good and all that, but as we see this week in Hollywood, I mean, money does not buy happiness, which is, I mean, it's been a sad week in, American business with a couple people that committed suicide this week, which is awful. I mean, the money's good. So it's like working hard in something and getting good at something gives you those rewards. But to me, the bigger reward in speaking is the person that comes up to you and said, look, man, you made the biggest impact on my life. In fact, I'll give you a quick story. So I was down in San Diego, California not this past 4th of July, but the 4th of July previous. And my wife was someplace, and I took my kids to San Diego. At the time we were living in Scottsdale. And so I took the boys to this place on Mission Beach. And so we had this hotel right on the beach. They were playing in the pool, and I'm on the boardwalk, which is right there, with my kind of and the right in front of me is where people are skateboarding by and biking and walking, and it's just amazing people watching, right? And I'm just like sitting there, like drink in my hand. I'm just like watching people, and Mr. Slow-Mo cruises by, the guy that's known for his slow motion rollerblading. He's like a famous guy down there. And then I'm sitting there, and I hear this. And it's skidding on kind of sandy cement. And I hear this, and this guy stops, and he backs up to me, and he goes, are you Todd Falcone? And I go, yeah. He goes, dude, gives me like the, bro handshake. He goes, listen, he said, you don't know me, but a few years ago, I attended one of your events. He goes, I used to weigh over 300 pounds.
Wow.
By the way, he's fit, and he looks good. He goes, it was your training that caused me to shift the direction of my life, because I've done multiple biathlons, triathlon, blah, blah, blah. Because I don't even do network marketing. He goes, but your training what made the biggest impact on me. And it was like, thank you. And then he was gone. I was just like,
yeah.
So to me, it's the hard work that you put in, those kinds of rewards, right? The rewards of the impact that you make on people. And then, it's the things that money does buy, and it's not the money itself. I don't sit there and sleep with my money, right? It's the freedom. Like when I leave, like when we get done today, I'm out of here. I'm going up to my river property, go hang out with my boys. Yeah. And being able to leave on a Tuesday or Wednesday, or take a day off when you feel like it, because you're in and you've become successful in something that pays well. So it's all those things.
I love it. That's it. You heard it, you guys. It's worth it. It's worth it. So Todd, thanks for being on this Fearless Fridays with Lisa. Give my love to Carla and the boys. Enjoy the river. You are a gift. Bye for now. Bye, everyone. And we're out. Woo! Todd, you're awesome.
Thank you, my dear. I will
talk to you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll let you know when I post it. Here's the list. Where is it? Oh, here it is.
It says still recording on my end, just a heads up.
Oh, hi, everybody. You heard the bloopers. Well, I'll tell to everybody. So here's my list. Can you see it?
I cannot see it right now. I get your screen turned off.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Here's my list of people, and you are coming up, my friend. Okay, so I'll let you know when you're live and in color on the Fearless Friday show. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.